The rain that night wasn't washing the streets clean. It just made the grime shine brighter. It was 3 a.m. when I got the call from patrol. It wasn't a homicide. At first glance, it looked minor. A golden retriever tied to the door of a shuttered vet clinic. But a detective learns to spot what's out of place. First detail, the leash. It wasn't hitched to the railing, where any desperate owner would leave it. It was knotted 3 times tight around the metal pull handle of the glass door. Whoever did that didn't just want to secure the dog. They wanted to make sure that door wouldn't open from the inside. It was a makeshift barricade. I approached slowly. Her vest read emotional support dog. Usually abandoned dogs stare at the street, looking for the owner who walked away. Not her. She had her snout pressed against the dark glass, frozen. She wasn't waiting for someone to come back. She was standing guard over someone trapped inside. I cut the tape holding a closed for renovations sign and forced the entry. The smell hit me before the lights did. It wasn't the smell of a dirty animal. It was worse. It was the smell of a cover-up, a sickening mix of industrial lemon cleaner over something rotting, with a sweet undertone of ether, sedatives, heavy stuff. I clicked on my flashlight. The reception looked like a stage set. Cheerful posters of smiling pets, jars full of treats, marble counters. But behind the desk, the floor told a different story. Scuff marks from heavy boxes being dragged in a hurry. They didn't close for renovations. They skipped town. Down the hall I heard the sound the golden outside had been listening for. A muffled groan coming from a locked room. I kicked the door in. No furniture. Just a large transport crate in the center of the empty room. And inside a medium-sized mutt, curled up shivering in a rhythmic pattern. His pupils were blown wide, unresponsive to my light. He was drugged out of his mind. That's when the golden came in. She ran to the crate, but she didn't bark. She sniffed the grate and then came to me. She started nudging my side with her head, insistent. I thought she wanted comfort, until I felt something hard inside the lining of her vest, not in the pocket, inside the seam. Someone had ripped the stitching and stuffed something in there. I used my pocket knife to open the lining. Out fell a small silver flash drive with a piece of masking tape labeled simply, "Evidence." I took the drive to my car. What I saw on my laptop screen changed everything. This wasn't animal abandonment. It was extortion and false imprisonment. The video was shaky, shot from a cell phone hidden on a shelf. It showed the clinic's office days earlier. The young guy, thin, deep dark circles under his eyes. That was Evan. He was pacing, chewing his fingernails until they bled. Sitting in the boss's chair was a woman. Dark-haired, sharp, with the ice-cold calm of someone pulling the strings. Mara. The audio was crisp. "I can't sign any more of these forms, Mara," Evan said. "These dogs are aggressive. You're just doping them up to sell them. And when the meds wear off, they bite kids." Mara's response made my blood run cold. She didn't yell. She stood up, walked over to the golden, the same one I found in the rain, and grabbed her collar tight. "Evan, you know that without your meds and without this dog, you can't even walk to the corner store. You're a functional mess. If you don't sign today's batch, Honey disappears, and you end up in the psych ward." It was the perfect scam. A mill for fake support dogs. They grabbed strays, pumped them full of sedatives to make them look docile, and sold them for $5,000 a pop, with a certificate signed by a coerced vet. Evan was the vet, and Honey was the hostage keeping his mouth shut. But where was Evan? I rewound the video. At the end, Mara said, "We're moving the operation to the Riverside unit. Take the dog to the door and wait there." Riverside? I ran the name through the system. Riverside Clinic. Grand opening tomorrow. 10 miles away. I got there before dawn. Lights were on. The final cleanup crew was busy. Mara was at the counter, barking orders at 2 guys loading boxes onto a truck.
Make sure it's strapped
She
down
reeked
tight.
of arrogance. When I flashed my badge, she smirked. "Detective? We have all our permits. My dogs are the calmest on the market." "I know," I replied. "I smelled the sedatives at your other joint." Her smile faltered. "And I found the flash drive Evan stitched into Honey's vest." That's when she tried to bolt for the back, but I blocked the exit. The back room of the new clinic was a copy of the old one. And there was Evan. But he wasn't tied up with ropes. He was sitting on the floor in a dark corner, rocking back and forth, muttering the dog's name. The torture wasn't physical. It was psychological warfare. She had stripped away the only thing that kept him grounded and locked him in there, waiting for him to snap and get back to work. When he saw me, his first question wasn't, "Are you the police?" It was, "Did she die in the rain?" I got down to his level. "No, kid. She stood guard all night. And she led me right to you." Mara's arrest wasn't cinematic. Folks like her, they crumble when they lose control. In the clinic's safe, we found dozens of bottles of controlled substances and hundreds of fake certificates ready to be signed. But the scene stuck in my head isn't the arrest. It was at the hospital hours later. Evan was medicated, Karma sitting on the gurney. When the nurse walked in with honey, medical protocol went out the window. The dog didn't jump. She knew he was fragile. She walked slowly, climbed onto the bed and rested her heavy head on his lap. Evan's breathing, which had been racing, synced up with hers in seconds. That's when I got it. Mara's crime wasn't selling fake dogs. That's just fraud. The real crime was using the genuine loyalty of an animal to hold a human being hostage. And there's no bail for that kind of evil. This city is full of stories hidden behind closed doors. Most people walk right past them. But we don't. If you're part of the squad that doesn't ignore a cry for help, smash that like button right now and drop the word loyalty in the comments. Let's see how many of us would have been there for Evan and Honey. Subscribe and hit the bell. The next case is already on my desk and I'm going to need partners. This is Detective Miller, over and out.